Hello, this is Jerry. I'm your recovery coach. In today's session, we're going to talk about the different types of help that you can get if you're suffering from substance abuse disorder. So the first thing I want to talk about is if you're in that hole and you don't know how to get out, there's a lot of options that you can look at and talk to people about. The first one is an intervention. Now, usually an intervention is something that people that care about you put together, but I just want to talk about what intervention shouldn't be. So if you're involved in intervention and it's a good intervention, you won't be surprised by it. So you shouldn't be ambushed or coerced to go to a meeting if it's led by a professional. An intervention should be led in a way that you're invited to it, you understand what's going on. The people that are attending it are showing you love and support, and the professional that's conducting the intervention will treat you with respect as well as everyone else involved in the intervention. So just be mindful that if you're invited to an intervention, that it's not going to be like what you see on TV. The other kind of help that you can look for when you're in substance abuse is meetings. So you've heard of Alcoholics Anonymous, you've heard of Narcotics Anonymous, Smart Recovery. There's many different types of meetings out there, and they're easy to find. Usually you can just Google help for substance abuse or help for alcoholism. And look in your community, talk to people at churches, talk to professionals in hospitals, therapists. They can all direct you to local meetings. What I wanted to explain about meetings is how they work and how you get involved in them. So they're generally open to anyone. You can just walk in. Usually you don't have to talk if you don't want to at the meeting. Most people in substance abuse meetings are friendly, helpful, and some of them have been through what you're going through. Some of them are going through what you're going through. So there'll be a lot of different types of people at these meetings. They're anonymous, so you don't have to disclose who you are. No one really should be talking about individuals that appear at these meetings. So you can go to them without other people in the community knowing you're there. The other part of meetings is that you are being put into a situation, or you're choosing to be in a situation where most of the people in those rooms are very familiar with your feelings and your attitude and what you're going through. They're generally not going to let you say things that make excuses or, the general BS that we give when we're trying to defend where we're at. They know what you've gone through. They know the BS when they see it. So just prepare to kind of be real. You're not going to be judged. People in these meetings usually don't judge or scold you for where you're at. Their goal is just to help you get out of that hole. So meetings are a good start. Another thing that happens when people start looking for recovery is they'll go to Detox. And Detox is a good beginning, but it's not something that's going to fix you. Detox is a place that you go to get the drugs or alcohol out of your system. Usually it's supervised medically. It can last from a day to several days. Detox is a good place to go if you want to stop the drug abuse or the alcohol abuse and get your mind cleared. Usually when you finish Detox, they'll give you some information on some meetings you can go to or rehab centers that you can go to or help that you can get. But Detox is just a place that you go to do what the word implies, just detox from the drugs or alcohol that are in your system. So just be prepared to start a road to recovery after Detox. And, don't be surprised if you have cravings or still feeling some withdrawals when you're finished with Detox, because that's normal and it's okay. And if you have a slip up after detox, that's okay too. What really matters is what you do next. So usually after detox, people will look at rehab. And rehab can mean a lot of different things. It usually means inpatient, meaning that you go to a facility. Some of them start at 28 days. Rehabs are usually expensive. And when you agree to go, the first thing they do is start putting you in meetings, helping you have discussions about where you're at, how you're feeling. Usually it's not judgmental. It's usually a place of support, and they'll give you direction on how not to give into the cravings that you're having. Usually there'll be meetings. You'll meet with psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors. You'll have 24/7 support for helping you realize where you're at, building the tools to maintain your sobriety, and then giving directions on what to do when you leave the rehab center. Now, you need to be careful when you talk to rehab centers because a lot of them are for profit, and there's nothing wrong for being for profit. But you need to realize that if you pay a lot of money up front, you may not get that money back if you leave early. So you need to read the agreement or the contract closely and ask them specifically what are their refund policies, or if you come back, are you credited any of the money that you paid up front? So if you're not capable of reading a contract, you may get a loved one or a friend to read it for you and explain it to you. So a lot of people think that rehab is a fix and that when you leave rehab, everything's going to be fine, just like on TV. But usually that's not the reality. Rehab is just the beginning of a recovery process. They're going to give you the tools that you need when you leave. And if you exercise those tools, you're more than likely going to find your pathway to recovery. You're still going to have cravings. You may have a slip up, and that's okay. But what really matters is the help that you seek the next morning. So rehab is a good option if you can afford it. If you can't afford rehab, there are things called halfway houses. Halfway houses are someplace that you can go that will put you in a job, and that will pay for your room and board. They'll find your job. They'll usually take you to that job. And then when you get back to the halfway house, there'll be meetings, there'll be support, there'll be guidance. They usually do testing. And if you don't pass the test, usually you're out. So halfway houses can be a little bit more rigid than rehab. A lot of people that are in halfway houses are made to be there by, the police or authorities or, the judge. So a lot of people that go to halfway houses don't necessarily have a choice to be there. But it's a good option if you're struggling and don't have money and want a place to go. Another option are places like Miracle Hill or the United Way or Goodwill. Salvation Army has a good halfway house. Again, they don't require any money, strict rules, and you usually go in at night, and then during the day you leave. It's not really a place that's set up to help you with your long-term recovery, but they definitely can help you with your short-term recovery. So just realize there are a lot of options out there. The road to recovery is not always easy, but if you keep trying, it will take hold. I promise. I've been down the road myself, and recovery is a great alternative to the hole you're in now. So if you want to get out of where you are now, then start asking for help. And if you're just curious about what's out there in the way of help, just start asking. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to jump on a program today, but start asking the questions because you might be surprised at the answers you get. So I hope this was helpful, and come back for more information on recovery.